Yes. Oh my God, I totally agree with that. Yeah. Oh dear. Oh, I can't believe that. Oh, China. Hi, I'm Nico, and in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the things that shocked me when I first came to China. I also took to Instagram and asked the same question to you guys and had a great response, so I thought I'd share some of the comments that people made as well. If you want to get involved in some of my videos, then don't forget to follow me on Instagram. My handle is wearenico, and I post loads of different things in my stories, so make sure to get involved. Also, if you don't subscribe to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that button and hit that bell notification to make sure you're up to date with every time I release a new video. I had some really great responses from different people on Instagram, and it was really interesting to see the mixture of different first impressions from when they came to China. There was some good, some bad, and some just plain ugly. So let's get stuck in. So one reoccurring answer that I got, which I totally agree with, because if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I'm a big foodie fan, is the food in China. Yeah, it totally shocked me. It's just not at all what I assumed Chinese food would be. Now, I'm basing this on my local Chinese restaurant back in the UK. Sorry guys, don't want to offend you, but it's just so much better here in China. The food is amazing. There's loads of fresh produce, loads of fresh vegetables and fruits that I've just never even heard of or seen or tasted before I came here. So it's opened my eyes to loads of new cuisine. Also, there's lots of very interesting things, which I guess I would probably consider a little bit weird because I wouldn't eat them back home, but here in China, they're totally normal. So I've tried lots of different things that I wouldn't necessarily normally try, which can be a little bit shocking. But generally, the food here is amazing. And also, what I really like is the fact that there's lots of different cuisines all over China. So no matter what city you go to, there's loads of new things that you don't get in another city. So it's always something new to try. And wherever you are in China, you can just smell food all the time. It's absolutely amazing. It's a big foodie country. Which leads me on to kind of my next comment, which someone made, is I thought there would be more vegetarians. Now, I'm not a vegetarian myself, but I do agree with this. I actually only know one vegetarian who's Chinese, but I know a lot of obviously Western vegetarian people, and I find that there's not always a great deal of vegetarian options. Now, if you go to like a local Chinese restaurant and you order just vegetables, which obviously you would assume would be vegetarian, a lot of the time they are cooked in pork fat or with meat. So that's something to be wary of if you are a vegetarian, that sometimes it's not always vegetarian friendly. That being said, I know a lot of vegetarians and vegans, especially here in Beijing and in Shanghai, and there's a lot of other options that you can do. So like, don't worry about it, but just make sure that you kind of either know how to say it in Chinese or know to expect that it might be a little bit more difficult if you come here. So another popular answer was about paying for things, like with WeChat or Alipay. So somebody said WeChat is everything, and literally it is everything. WeChat and Alipay, the fact that you can pay with your mobile is just amazing. And WeChat has so many great features like translate, you can buy tickets and stuff. It's literally the best app I've ever come across. I recently went back home to the UK and I just found it really inconvenient to have to pay with like my card or with cash or everything when I already always have my phone on me. I just find it just so much more convenient. Obviously, if you get your phone stolen, which I did a few months ago, that's not convenient and that's a bit of a pain, but generally it's just so much better to be able to pay with WeChat and Alipay everywhere. Technology is so advanced here, it's just amazing. On the opposite scale of this is if you're traveling here and you don't necessarily have WeChat and Alipay, although I have heard that you can now add a foreign card to them. Haven't tried this myself, let me know, does it work? But if you haven't got these, then you can't pay with your credit card for a lot of things. You actually do need to get cash out, which can be a bit of a pain if you're a tourist, because sometimes the cash machine doesn't take your cards and you just can't just pay with card everywhere. Hotels generally accept a Western card, but I mean, we tried to pay when we first got here, like in IKEA, and they were just like, no, can't pay on card. So a lot of people were shocked at the toilet situation. Now, personally, I'd already knew that squat toilets were everywhere in China, so I didn't find it that shocking. But if you didn't know this, I can see how it would be quite shocking to some people. For me, what I found more shocking was actually the amount of public toilets that there are and how they're all free. Like in the UK, you don't get free public toilets. So I was quite shocked at that. I thought that was pretty amazing. And also another thing that's shocking is when there is toilet paper in the toilet, because pretty much everywhere in China there's never toilet paper. So when there is toilet paper, it's really shocking. Another person wrote baby split pants. Now I've talked about this before in another one of my videos, and the babies here, they wear like open pants instead of wearing nappies. So yeah, I guess that's quite shocking. I don't know if other countries do this as well. I'd be interested to know if your country also does this. I know the UK doesn't. So a lot of people mentioned security in one way or another, that there's a big police presence and there's lots of security cameras everywhere. Now, I personally think that this is a good thing, and the people that I spoke to about it, they also agreed and said that they thought it was really good too. In my opinion, if you're not doing anything wrong, then it shouldn't matter that there's all the security and things anyway, so I think that it makes it feel safer. China, to me, is actually one of the safest countries that I've ever been to. I've never felt unsafe here. I actually feel more unsafe walking around the UK at night time than I do here. So I think it's really good. But obviously, if you're not used to seeing the amount of police and security and stuff, then I can understand that it would feel a little bit weird. So let's talk about a big one, and that's censorship. Now, I was already prepared for this before I came here because I knew that you couldn't access loads of Western social media. But what I wasn't prepared for was just like how many things are banned. Like, I can't even access my emails, which is a little bit shocking. So to get around this, you need a VPN. So I got one before I came. If you're coming to China, I would definitely recommend. It's one of the first things that you do before you come is to make sure you get a VPN. I've got a link below to the one that I use. Get it? But to Chinese people, it's just not a big deal because obviously they've got their own social media and their own apps which don't use VPNs. So a lot of my friends, they don't need one, they don't have one. And it's quite good because also it's opened my eyes to a lot of different things, different social medias and things that I would never have known if I hadn't have come to China. So somebody wrote traveling, and I completely agree with this. Before I came to China, I was a little bit worried that traveling around was going to be like super difficult because no one would speak English and it would be really hard. But actually it's not. It's super easy. You've got websites like Trip where you can book your train tickets, you go to the desk, it's super easy to get them. Like the metro or underground is all in English. You can, like, signs are in English. It's much easier than I thought to travel around China. Taxis can be a little bit difficult, but if you're moving here, then get the DD app, and it's like Uber. It's so convenient that actually it's been a breeze getting around China, much easier than I thought. And yeah, I was quite shocked at that too. Another really popular answer was how cheap everything is. Yeah, I was shocked at this too. Like, China isn't obviously the cheapest country in the world, but loads of everyday things are really quite cheap. Like, a beer from the supermarket is only 30p. That's like the same price of a Coke. And like, a Coke's 30p, that's so cheap. You just don't get that. In the UK, it's just like 3 times that price, which is amazing. Like, the metro's really cheap, food's really cheap. Yeah, I was shocked too. Also, somebody said that you can get free alcohol as a foreigner in clubs. I've personally not experienced this myself because I don't tend to go to Chinese clubs that often. But yeah, apparently you get free alcohol. So if you're into that, then that's great. Another thing that happens in clubs, and actually pretty much everywhere, is smoking. Yeah, I was shocked, as a few other people said it as well. It was like smoking everywhere. People just smoke everywhere. You can smoke in restaurants, you can smoke in clubs, people smoke in corridors and toilets. It's just, apparently, people like to smoke. So this is a big one for me, and I was going to mention this anyway, and some other people mentioned it as well, which is amazing. So what shocked me was how nice and how friendly everyone is. Now, when I first came to China, everyone was so warm and welcoming to us, and everybody's just so generous. Like when I'm at work, everybody's always giving you food or like buying gifts. People constantly fight over the bill here, and everybody's just super nice and interested. Even if people can't speak to you because they speak Chinese and obviously I speak English, they still try and have conversations with you, and they're still generally really interested, and it's just so nice. And when you live somewhere for a little while, like where we live in Beijing, we've got like a little community of other people around us, and people start to know you and they're always trying to talk to you, and it's just really lovely to have that away from home of generally friendly people that live here. It's just super nice. Now, totally the opposite of that is actually how direct people can be here sometimes. Now, someone said how people have no problem telling me that I'm fat to my face. Now, when I first moved here, we actually got a handbook which told us some cultural differences, and this was in there. Apparently, that's fine, you know, people don't see it as rude, whereas in the UK, if you said that to somebody, well, you just wouldn't. But here, yeah, I've heard it before, people say, oh, you're looking fatter today, or you look tired, or just something quite direct like that. So if it happens to you, don't get offended, just brush it off. Apparently that's just a normal thing to say to someone. So a few people have mentioned this as well, and I totally agree. And it's the sheer size and scale of China. Like, I mean, I knew China was a big country, but I really just didn't realize just how big it is. You know, you can fly from Beijing to Shenzhen, and it'll take about 3 hours. That's like from the UK to Greece. That's like all of Europe nearly. So it's just a huge country. Obviously, there's so much to see, and there's also a lot of people. Like, I knew there was going to be a lot of people, like 1.3 billion people live here, but at times it can be a little overwhelming, especially like here in Beijing when there's just so many people in one place. I've been quite lucky, and I've kind of avoided traveling at public holidays to like overcrowded places. But even just getting on the Beijing metro at rush hour is crazy. If you've been on it, you'll know what I mean. Because there are so many people in China, what shocked me was also just how developed it is and how everything changes just so fast here. Like a shop will shut down one day, and then 2 days later, it'll be completely different inside and open up as a completely different thing. And it's just amazing, like how fast everything changes. If you look out your window, it'll be a car park one day, then the next day it'll be a skyscraper. In the UK, roadworks can be going on for like years. And then in China, they've built a high-speed railway in a month. It's amazing and scary at the same time. One thing that shocked me was the amount of old people that are outside in the parks, playing games, singing, dancing, doing exercises, playing with their grandchildren, and it's just so amazing and heartwarming to see this. I don't find that you find this everywhere. Like in the UK, there's not loads of old people in the park, and it's just such a nice thing to see. And yeah, apparently being in China is a great place to be retired because you'll have loads of friends, loads of things to do, and yeah, it's just a really nice thing to see in the park. I love going and people watching and seeing all these people just having fun. Somebody mentioned walking backwards, and I assume that this is probably like an exercise thing. I haven't actually seen this myself, but I would really like to see some people walking backwards. So if you know where this happens, can you let me know so I can go and see?
You've never seen it?
No, I've never seen it. Where? I know this is really stupid because China is such a big country, so I don't know why this shocked me. But one thing that shocked me was the temperature here. China is like the hottest and the coldest place that I've ever been to. Wherever you go in China, it's different temperatures. But for instance, here in Beijing, now it's winter and it's like in the minuses, which is way, way colder than the UK. But then you think, okay, well, it gets that cold in winter, it won't get that hot in summer, but it does. It's just so hot in the summer. And a few places in China seem to be like that. Nanjing was very similar as well. So obviously the best time to travel is the shoulder seasons. So if you're coming to China, make sure you check the weather and bring appropriate attire. Okay, so I think that's enough shocking things for today. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and leave me a comment to let me know what things shocked you when you came to China, and also if you agree with any of the points that I've made. I just want to say a big thank you to all my Instagram followers for getting involved and leaving me comments, and I'm really happy that you decided to be in this video. If you want to take part in one of my next videos, then make sure you follow me on Instagram. We are Nico. Pop up, link below. And yeah, I hope to hear off you soon. Also, like I said at the beginning, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification, give this video a like, and I'll see you next time.